Hey, and welcome to English Coffee House. I'm Daria.
And I'm Chris. We're really happy you're here with us.
Get comfortable.
And let's start with today's conversation.
I was in a cafe this morning, and I watched someone buy a really beautiful cake for themselves. Not for a birthday and not for anyone else. Just one small cake, a coffee, and a quiet table by the window. And I thought that actually looked like a very good use of money.
I like that. Very simple, but very real.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge thing, but the person looked genuinely pleased. Not excited in a big way, just lighter.
I think those moments matter more than people admit. We often talk about money like it has to solve our whole life to be meaningful. But sometimes it just changes 1 hour of the day.
Exactly. And 1 hour can feel important when the rest of the week is heavy.
Definitely. I've had that feeling with very ordinary things. Taking a taxi home when I'm too tired for the bus, buying good bread instead of the cheapest one, sitting somewhere warm when the weather is bad. It doesn't change who I am, but it changes the mood of the evening.
Yes, and I think mood is not a small thing. We say it like it's something unimportant, but mood changes the way you speak to people, the way you move, even the way you think.
That's true. If I've slept badly, had a stressful day, and then I spend a little money to make the evening easier, it can feel almost emotional, like I'm giving myself some space.
That's a nice way to say it, giving yourself some space.
Because money can do that sometimes. It can remove pressure. Not always, but sometimes.
I think that's where the feeling comes from for me. Not from buying something impressive, but from removing a little friction. Like life is already asking a lot from you, and then suddenly one thing becomes softer.
Softer is the right word. I remember when I first started earning enough to not check my bank app every 2 hours. That wasn't luxury, it was just relief. And the relief felt bigger than any object I could buy.
I relate to that so much. There's a big emotional difference between buying something because you can and buying something while feeling slightly guilty the whole time.
Oh, yes.
Even something small can lose its joy if there's stress attached to it.
I used to feel that with coffee from a coffee shop, which is funny because it's such a small thing. But there was a period when buying one felt irresponsible. So even when I did it, I couldn't enjoy it fully.
Because part of your mind was still somewhere else.
Exactly. Doing the math.
I know that version of life. You're standing there with a nice drink, but emotionally, you're with your bills.
That should be on a t-shirt.
It's not very stylish, but it's honest.
Very honest.
I think money can buy happiness in these very temporary human ways. Comfort, ease, a small surprise, a better meal, a little more rest. But maybe the question is what kind of happiness we're talking about.
Yes, because I don't think it can create a deep sense of peace by itself.
No, I don't think so either.
But I also don't like when people say money doesn't matter. That usually sounds wise, but it often comes from people who don't have to worry about it.
I agree. It can sound detached from real life. If money pays your rent, gives you time, helps your family, or lets you breathe a little more easily, then of course it matters.
Very much.
I think maybe money is strongest when it protects, not when it performs.
That's good.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when it protects your energy, your time, your health, your basic calm. That feels more real than using money to prove something.
Exactly. I've never been very impressed by expensive things on their own, but I am impressed when someone uses money to make their daily life gentler.
Gentler is such a good word here. It feels closer to what people actually want, not a dramatic movie-style happiness, just less stress, more room.
More room to be a person.
Yes.
I also think there's a strange pressure around spending. Sometimes people buy things because they want a new feeling, not a new object.
That's very true.
And I understand it. Sometimes life feels flat, and buying something gives you a little spark. A package arrives or you go somewhere nice, and suddenly the day has shape again.
I've done that.
Me too.
Usually with books. I tell myself I'm buying knowledge, but sometimes I'm really buying hope.
That is such a perfect sentence.
It's true, though. I buy a book and imagine a calmer, wiser future version of myself. A person who wakes up early and reads with tea and understands life.
Meanwhile, the book stays on the table for 6 days.
Exactly.
I think clothes can be like that too. Sometimes you buy a shirt, but what you really want is a slightly different identity for a few days.
A more organized one.
A more organized one, yes. Or a more confident one. Or just someone who seems to have their life in order.
It's interesting how money can buy these little emotional stories. Not permanently, but for a while.
For a while is important.
Because the feeling usually fades.
It does, but I don't think that means it was false.
No, I don't think so either. Temporary doesn't mean fake. A good meal is temporary. A holiday's temporary. Even a quiet Sunday afternoon is temporary. That doesn't make it meaningless.
I love that. Temporary doesn't mean fake.
Some of the best parts of life are short.
And honestly, I think adults need more permission to enjoy short happiness without turning it into a big philosophy.
Yes, sometimes you just bought yourself a pastry and it improved the day. That's enough.
Exactly. No need to turn it into a life system.
Although I do think there's a line somewhere, because if every bad feeling becomes a reason to spend, then the relief gets a bit noisy.
Noisy is a good word. It starts to feel restless.
Yeah, like you're not really enjoying anything, you're just trying to outrun something.
I felt that before. Not in a dramatic way, but in a low, everyday way. Browsing online, adding things to a basket, not because I needed them, but because I wanted a shift in mood.
Did it work?
Sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes until the delivery arrived. Then the object became normal very fast.
That's the strange thing. We can be full of expectation before something arrives, and then 2 days later, it's just part of the room.
Yes, and then the mind starts looking again for the next little promise.
Which is exhausting, actually.
It is. And I think that's when money stops feeling like support and starts feeling like distraction.
That's a very clear distinction.
I think so. If I spend money in a calm way, it usually brings real pleasure. If I spend in a restless way, it often leaves me emptier.
I've had that with eating out. Sometimes going to a nice place feels grounding, like I'm really there, really tasting the food, really enjoying the time. And other times it feels like I'm trying to fix my mood with a menu.
And food cannot carry all that.
No, that's too much pressure for one plate of pasta.
Poor pasta.
It was trying its best.
It really was.
But yes, I think there's something honest in noticing the difference. Money can create a pleasant moment. It can reduce stress. It can even create lovely memories. But maybe it works best when it joins a life, not when it tries to replace one.
That's beautiful. When it joins a life, not when it tries to replace one.
I think so. Because if your life already has some meaning, some connection, some rhythm, then money could add color. But if everything feels empty, buying more color doesn't always help.
It might even make the emptiness louder.
Yes.
I've noticed that what I appreciate most now is not buying more things, but buying better conditions. A train instead of a stressful bus, good fruit, a lamp that makes the room softer in the evening, fresh flowers sometimes, even just a small bunch.
I was going to say flowers.
Really?
Yes. They're such a small luxury, but they change a room immediately. And they ask nothing of you. They're just there, being beautiful for a few days.
I love that. And maybe that's enough. Not every good thing has to last forever to be worth having.
I think that becomes clearer as you get older.
Definitely. You stop expecting one thing to solve everything.
And you start respecting smaller comforts.
Yes, the kind that don't announce themselves.
The quiet kind.
The quiet kind is often the most real.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
We really enjoyed having you here and sharing this conversation.
Keep listening
And we'll see you soon.
here at English Coffee House.